Now the moment we've all been waiting for, the moment when I came face to face with the man in the cloud. Now I know what y'all are probably thinking right now. Jay Bird, what would you have done if the man in the cloud had disappeared? Well, at one point in my travels, I thought that I had lost the man in the cloud. You see, I came into this little town called Circleville, Ohio, and the sky was filled with dark clouds, and all of a sudden it swallowed up the cloud with the man in it. Well, I didn't know where to go, so I went to sleep. And just as I was about to start dreaming, a crash of lightning woke me up into the worst rainstorm I'd ever known. It was very frightening. I didn't know what to do. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a hand appeared, and it was waving to me. And I heard a voice screaming to be heard over the rain saying, "Come and go with me," just like the man did in the cloud above my daddy's pulpit. So I took the hand, and we ran through the rain, and the next thing I know, we're standing under a highway overpass. And for the first time, I see the person that's connected to the hand. That person was the man in the cloud. And ladies and gentlemen, the man in the cloud is this man right here, Stephen Cheslik-DeMeyer. It's fate. Well, we built us a little fire there under the overpass, and while our clothes were drying, I realized that I was experiencing love for Stephen. Oh, and Stephen was feeling love for me too. I know he was, but instead of saying, "I love you too, Jay," he said just one word, "Eduardo." Can I tell him the story? Well, you see, back before Stephen left Cornflake, Indiana, to head out into the big world, he worked on his family's corn farm out in the field. And one late afternoon, beneath the blazing hot August sun, Stephen had a vision. It was like a real magical vision, complete with the sparkly edges and all. You know what it was? It was a man. That's right. Stephen had himself a vision of a beautiful, dark-skinned man. He was magically lifted up from a coffee bean field down in Mexico and sort of planted there in the cornfield, right there with Stephen. His hair was thick and black, like licorice sticks. His skin was golden smooth, like Sunday morning pancakes. And his nipples were like 2 Hershey's Kisses out of the foil wrappers. And his name was Eduardo. They fell in love that late afternoon beneath the stalks of corn, and they started meeting on a regular basis, until Stephen tried to introduce Eduardo to his family. You see, Eduardo kept telling Stephen that nobody could ever find out that they were in love, even though Stephen insisted that his family didn't have any problem with him being what he was. Well, finally, after months and months of these secret meetings, Stephen tried to surprise Eduardo and have his family come out to the cornfield to meet him there. But before they even got a glimpse of Eduardo, Eduardo saw them. And he disappeared. And Stephen never saw him again. And he was heartbroken. The next year, or about the same time of year, Stephen found a piece of paper on the ground beneath one of the corn stalks. It was a letter from Eduardo. In the letter, Eduardo told Stephen that he was back in Mexico for good, that he'd gotten married and his wife was pregnant and his family couldn't be happier about it all. But at the bottom of the letter, there was a little P.S. that said, "You were the only man I ever let myself love." When Stephen finished telling me this story, he wiped the tears from his eyes and fell asleep with his arms wrapped tightly around me. But I couldn't sleep. I stayed up all night long and wrote a song by the lights of the cars passing by on the highway. And the next morning, as the last drops of rain were dripping off the sides of the overpass, I sang it to Stephen.
And that morning after Jay sang me the song, I said, "I love you too, Jay."
It's true. Long ago and far away, you held the sun above his day. You lit the match that burned the stars. his aged scars. So long, Eduardo, Eduardo, so long, your power is gone. Our love is too strong. There's nothing I can imagine that you could do to tear us apart. Eduardo, you're through. Your crying wife, your children at home. As long as you're running, you'll be all alone. But that's your problem now. The family that smiles at you says you do everything a good son should do. The family's sacred cow. So long, Eduardo, Eduardo, so long, your power is gone. Our love is too strong. There's nothing I can imagine that you could do to tear us apart. Eduardo, you're through. I'll never look into your eyes. My lips will never touch your golden thighs. But it's something I can live with. The only thing that makes me think about you is how his heart had your stink. Now it's scented with our bliss. So long, Eduardo, Eduardo, so long, your power is gone. Our love is too strong. There's nothing I can imagine that you could do to tear us apart. Eduardo, you're through. So long, Eduardo, Eduardo, so long, your power is gone. Our love is too strong. There's nothing I can imagine that you could do to tear us apart. Eduardo,